Welcome back. Pathway to Purpose paves the way and empowers young students on their journey toward higher education and fulfilling careers. Through strong partnerships with schools, community organizations, and families, Pathway to Purpose strives to enhance comprehensive college readiness programs. Chief Strategy Officer for Pathway to Purpose, Miguel Melbourne, joins me to discuss. Miguel, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, can you tell us what led to the creation of Pathway to Purpose and its overall mission?
Absolutely. And I'll start with sort of how I fit into the picture. My background is in corporate America. And in 2019, I decided to leave corporate America to join Path with a Purpose. And that's because I was so moved by the mission. Ultimately, I am one of the students we're serving. And so Path with a Purpose started in 2016 by a brilliant young woman, Samantha Sinclair. We happened to have gone to the same college, U Albany, so there was high relatability. And Samantha in 2016 was having a marvelous year. She decided to start her PhD at Seton Hall University and in higher education. And simultaneously, she recognized that students across the city was having some of the same college and career prep challenges that she had way back when. And so she decided to do something about it. And the initial idea was to take students outside of their comfort zone, take them on a college campus, give them a chance to, some of them, it's the first time they're leaving their neighborhood, but she wanted them to see what it looks like so that they can have a clearer sense of what college was. And since then, we've evolved to doing over 227 college trips, and also recognizing some of the challenges that exist. We started doing workshops for students and parents. We've done over 1,100. We do staff development. We partner with schools and say, hey, tell us what you're thinking. Where are your students? And we even customize events. And then since 2020, facing the challenge that was COVID, we decided to double down and started to innovate some products. And so that's where Path with a Purpose is right now, really focus on the innovation side of college and career prep.
Now, with that being said, what are some of the challenges facing New York City students academically?
Absolutely. That's a fantastic question. When we think about New York City DOE, we are thinking the biggest, Department of Education in the country. We're also thinking about over 1 million students. That's a lot of students. And so what we're finding in terms of a challenge is that you're going to have students who are highly motivated. They're strong-willed. They have the discipline. They have the skills, the study habits. Then you're going to find students in the middle. And those students, they have the will. They're trying their best, but there are challenges and there are obstacles, and maybe they can't find that consistency. And then what you're also finding is that the low motivation students, right? And this is where they're having severe challenges. It could be anything. It could be, something happening at home. It could be, they haven't eaten. It could be any number of challenges. Or it could be one that's personal to me. They're new to the New York City Department of Education, and they're learning for the first time how to learn in America, which was my case when I came from Jamaica. And so one of the major challenge is how do we provide resources that's meeting students where they are in their academic journey, right? And then a second problem that I'd say all three categories of those students face is that oftentimes students can't draw a straight line between the effort that's required and expected of them on a daily basis to what is this going to give me in the future, where is this going to take me? What job? And because they can't draw that straight line, we're seeing issues. And that's where, the entire Department of Education, but also organizations, CBOs like Path with a Purpose, it's a beautiful challenge, to create the resources to overcome those challenges.
No, I definitely want to touch on something so important that you mentioned, and it was about your background. Pathway to Purpose contributes its success to having a multicultural team. Can you tell me a little bit more about the importance behind that, especially since we're here in New York City?
Absolutely. New York City is the Mecca, it's the height of diversity. And so I think a part of it is serendipity. One of the running jokes on our team is that three of us went to SUNY Albany, right? And it was at different times. Some of us, which we love to tell students that, listen, when you go to college, you have no idea who might become a lifelong friend, who you might do business with. And so we have Kathleen, she's of Dominican heritage. I'm Jamaican. Our founder, Samantha Sinclair, she's Guyanese. Sabrina is Guyanese. And so, we celebrate that. We celebrate, the fact when we go into a classroom and you say, hey, who's Dominican? Or they hear Kathleen speaking Spanish, that does something. And so what you also find in that first generation college graduates. What you also find is that we come from humble backgrounds. And then we also morph as an organization where we'll have volunteers come in. And those volunteers represent, I'm from the Bronx, I'm from this specific location, and the students love that. And so also, just what the upbringing was like. I grew up in a single family household. We have individuals that work with us, that they're open to telling the students, hey, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And look, from no idea and people supporting me, this is where I am. So, just as you mentioned, just the multicultural nature of it, the demographic nature of it is very important. And where it really plays a function is, I believe that there's three things we're trying to do when we're working with the youth. The first one, to be impactful, is we want to change their mood, right? It could be any number of reasons why a student has a certain mood, and we have to be able to gain their attention to change their mood, take them from wherever they are to excited. How do we do that? The second thing is we want to find a way to change their motivation. How do we inspire them? What do we have to say to give them hope? And then the last thing is, how do we give them a plan that's going to inspire movement? Give them the opportunity, give them some strategies that they're willing to take in action. And if we can do those three things, then, we're heading in the right direction. And as you mentioned, that multicultural nature, when they're seeing someone that looks like them or they're hearing themselves in their stories, it, helps to move the marker.
Now, what I thought was really interesting was that you work with middle school students as well. How do you prepare middle school students to begin thinking about higher education before they even enter high school?
Absolutely. I smile thinking about middle school students and even just my own middle school years. But the first thing is to change their mindset. And where we want them to get is, this is a time to be excited. Be excited. And the reason being that college and career prep, typically it starts to become something they take action on like 11th grade. If they're like really, if the infrastructure is really there. But for most students, it really becomes this big deal senior year. And really, it's only like 4 months. And inside that 4 months, there's application, there's essay, there's where am I going to get the money? So it tends to be a lot of anxiety and stress. But with our middle school students, we say, hey, you should be excited. You have 5, 6 years at it. And look, we're talking about college and career prep now. And then, a part of the way we approach it is there's an element of fun in everything that we do. One of my favorite things we do is it's called a College Awareness Day event. And so we go into a school, hundreds of students, broken down over different periods. And let's say we're using the auditorium and we break the students into 2 different groups and we're asking them these college and career prep questions and they're competing, right? I'll ask a question and they have to discuss it, select the person, and they run to the middle and the first one to get the answer. And it's a ton of fun. And by the time they're done, they're recognizing, how to work together, realizing what they know, what they learn, and then we give them prizes, there's music. So that element of fun, and that they should be excited about the prospect of what college and career prep could look like.
And I love that you say that you make it fun, because college is stressful, right? As a teenager, you're 16, 17, 18 years old, thinking about what you have to do for the rest of your life. And it all starts in college. So I think it's amazing that you make it fun so that when they do reach that point, they feel cool, calm, and collected, because this is something that they've been training for since middle school. So I think that's pretty amazing. Now, what else I also think it's pretty amazing that parents are also involved, because we don't hear that often. Can you talk about the importance of forming, relationships and just partnerships with the community as well as their parents?
Absolutely. A part of our, core ethos is that helping our next generation to be ready for college and career prep. It's a team sport. It's an all hands in. And so that is to say, of course, the students have a role to play. They have to try their best. They have to get their academics right, participate in extracurricular. But our parents, us, we have a major role to play, right? And so as well as our educators, are they armed with the resources they need to be able to put college and career prep in their daily curriculum? Then you have the role of CBOs, right? We have a big role to play. What are we doing? How are we helping? What solutions are we providing? And then also even at the corporate level, those corporations that love to support students. And so our goal here at Pathway to Purpose is to say, how can we empower all stakeholders? How do we provide services and products that everybody goes, Fantastic. Yes, this is going to help advance the students that we serve. So it's critical. It's a critical component of what we do.
And with that, can you expand on the prep on demand and how this is for in-school staff to learn a little bit more as well?
Absolutely. So our Prep on Demand is our latest innovation. In 2020, we came out with our college study flashcard, the first of its kind. 2022, we spent an entire year. And what we did is, as I mentioned, we've done over 1,100 workshops across, let's say, 32 different categories. And when the pandemic happened, what happened is everything stopped, right? And we would typically execute workshops in school. And then we say, okay, this can't happen again. And so what we did was essentially take all the workshops that we do and we put it into this central digital online platform. And so now it creates easy access for students, for parents, for educators. And so particularly for our educators, what you find is, their knowledge tends to be the school they went to. And then the entire scope, they have sort of challenges. And even our guidance counselors, right? Our school counselors, if you have 500 students, we can say the same thing over and over again. And so there are all these challenges where our educators don't necessarily have the tool. So our Prep on Demand is we took all of our workshops, we broke it down into 6 different modules. The first one is understanding college. The second one is paying for college. The third one is being career ready. The fourth one is you got accepted, now what? Right? The fifth one is what it takes to win. And the last one talks about entrepreneurship. And so we will train an educator, right? Let's say it's the guidance counselor, or typically there might be an advisory hour. And this is a digital platform, well done. These are lessons that are anywhere from like 1.5 to 10 minutes. It comes with downloads that educators can print out, put it up in the classroom on the bulletin boards. And one of my favorite features is that there's this chat box. And so as an educator, all they have to do is press play. And now there's a done for them curriculum. And inside that chat box, if the student has a question, if an educator feel like, I need to ask somebody, they have access to our team. And one of my favorite parts as well is that they have access for an entire year. And so we're like, educators, here we go. Let's talk college and career prep every day.
That's amazing. And this is what I love to hear, that it's really taking somewhat of a different approach just on helping, people, especially definitely important to mention that these are usually children from underprivileged backgrounds. So I think it's so amazing that this work is being done. And with that, I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing a little bit about the community that you've built, with our community here at BronxNet. So thank you.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
To learn more about all of these amazing programs that they offer, please visit their website at pathwaytopurposenyc.com.